Hello there my dear loving souls, welcome back to part 3 on today's video series, which is a spirit-led topic on Up from the Depth, Releasing Difficulty. If you haven't already, watched part 1 and part 2, I genuinely suggest that you do, because it will give you the context of what we're about to do, which is get a few more messages from the spirit world on the subject matter. I'm just drawn to get the crystals deck and share some more perhaps messages from the spirit world as to the colors, some chakras that are at play, and I might get this wild and unknown, given that we're talking about up from the depths and releasing difficulty. I'm just going to get some clarifiers from this wild and unknown tarot deck as well. Now, what's important, I think, for me to mention, actually, if you haven't noticed in part 2, but I actually was really drawn to look at my candle and the fire, and then what I realized with the fire, and specifically mentioning planet Mars, which sort of rules the Two of Wands card, I didn't actually address it. Now, and I think it's important. So planet Mars, and I was looking at the fire, both are actually fiery elements, or the element of fire. And with the Aries in particular, the zodiac that is very clear, that is coming through from the Two of Wands and the Emperor, very, very fiery signs, but in a good way. Sometimes you can have too much fire, obviously, and then you'll get feelings of frustration, anger, conflict perhaps, and that could be something you're experiencing. But hence, trying to release the difficulty, move into a more calmer waters, go up the stairs, find that illumination that you need. But the more positive, I guess, interpretation of what fire and the planet of Mars could mean that you need a bit in your life is that passion, and it's a drive, it's that ambition, and we're talking about strategy and then acting, right? So making sure that it comes from a place of your heart, you feel fiery and passionate and motivated to want to actually do something. And so perhaps that's part of the answer, is that when we're thinking and doing part of part 2, we talked a lot about strategizing and coming up with a plan, embracing the divine masculine to try and strategize and figure out a way forward. What's the next decision, and what's the next action? Perhaps the fire and planet Mars are trying to tell us, make sure that when you do that, you feel passionate and motivated, as if you're you can't wait to do that, whatever it is that you have come up with, or you strategize, or you plan in your life. In other words, it shouldn't come from a place of fear, where you're right, as an example, where, as a family are facing some financial difficulties. So I'm just gonna change my job, I'll find the next best job that's paying me higher, and that's going to bring happiness and joy to my family because it's a higher salary, just as an example. But for some reason, the next job opportunity that comes along isn't actually something you are passionate about. It's, in fact, the only good thing about it is the fact that there's a higher salary, amount to it. So I think what this is trying to tell me with planet Mars and the fire is that if you're taking on the job simply for the fact that there's a higher amount of quantum, but it's not actually bringing you joy, you're not motivated to jump at the opportunity, you don't have fire for that role, then perhaps that's a step back actually in the situation. It's a step back into difficulties. It might actually be a step back. And that what you need to be doing is perhaps thinking a little bit more, strategizing a bit more, figuring out another way that is more motivational, more inspirational, more fiery, for you to be able to see all the variety of options that might be on the table to alleviate the financial difficulties that your family might be experiencing, rather than just taking the next job that has a higher salary amount. Or perhaps it is a matter of finding another job, but making sure that It's something that you are fired up about, something that will bring you, something you want to leap out for the first thing in the morning and go to job, go to your work, do the role, and then bring in money for the family. And who knows, even if you do that, there might be career progression, a very quick career progression, which will bring more abundance into your family, more wealth. So yeah, just a very specific example, but hopefully you can see what I mean by this very strong energy of fire and planet Mars. Alrighty, so I've got a few clarifiers here from the Crystals deck and the Wild Unknown Tarot Guidebook. Let me just have a moment to observe. So, the Ten of Cups was clarified by the Moss Agate, which is a green card, or green crystal, excuse me, which is all about, look at this, new beginnings. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? Nature connection, animal allies and security. So security, once again, foundational things. Wealth, something that makes you feel secure as well. Nature connection and animal ally. Sorry, I like that, because I think there is an element of, if you step out into nature or find yourself, doing some love for yourself, some self-love perhaps, by going into nature, doing some gardening, going for a swim somewhere, spending some time next to a body of water, animals, having fun with animals, horse riding if you enjoy that, having fun with your farm animals or pets, talking to them, going to have fun, even going for a walk with your dog. That might give you some clarity, and you might receive some messages from the universe that might guide you towards figuring out some options for you to help you release the difficulties that you might be going through. So that's the message I'm getting. Another one is listen to your heart. So green color for me in terms of chakras is your heart. Listen to your heart when you walk on your walk, or you don't have to be on the walk. You can be in your home, wherever you might be. Just put the hand on your heart and listen to what your heart has to say, because it is, in my world, a bridge between the spirit world, the spiritual body, and your physical body. And then we've got, this is clarified by the Son of Wands. You see that illumination, that bright spark, that bright idea, illumination, the sun, or for me it's kind of like also the crown chakra, listening to the messages from the universe. When you get that light bulb moment, perhaps there's something to do with, a new beginning, new way of thinking, something new that pops into your mind that may have come from a place of, passion and desire and something so creative that you're like, I really, really want to pursue that. And perhaps this is what the Son of Wands is trying to say. Listen to that passion, to that fire, those bright ideas that may sound out of this world, crazy, but perhaps we need a little bit more crazy in our life in order to release the difficulties. Think differently, innovatively. Think outside the box. That might be the way forward for you to then, reach the outcome that you desire, or come up with a plan and a strategy that is so perfect, and you can then tackle it together, individually or within your family environment, a group, whatever community you might be in, and then take the decision to actually go for it, execute, implement that idea. Also, the other thing is snakes. Snakes are a sign of transformation, because they shed their skin. So maybe that's another confirmation of the number 10, and that transformation element, going from the old and stepping into something new. And you might even feel like a new person or a new body, physically and spiritually, mentally and emotionally, if you find this new spark, new idea that you just really, really want to follow. Alrighty, dear loving souls, and the Emperor and the Page of Swords were clarified by the Tiger's Eye, and it's all about luck and new ventures. I like that. Willpower, creative flow, and overcoming fear. I like it, and it's quite a brown tone, which for me is sort of a mixture between your root chakra, which is the red color, and sort of sacral chakra, which is more orangey color. So a mixture between wealth, foundation, stability, and then your connections, family, home, feelings, pleasure, what brings you pleasure and joy. So a better mixture of both. Now, and obviously that's the kind of the context we've been talking about the whole video series, quite frankly. I like it that it's reminding us about luck in new ventures. So I think that's another positive sign that when you're creating, it's all about a new beginning. It's going from the past difficulties, turbulent waters, going up the stairs that are illuminated by the spiritual, by the universe, by the sun, into something new. And we've got the luck. It's ultimately all positive. It's about stepping, like it said, it's all about, although there may still be some remaining steps before resolving this problem, rest assured that a bright new beginning is near. And that's another confirmation, there's luck. There's luck involved. Definitely luck involved. And having the full power, of course, you know, as the emperor, divine masculine energy, having the willpower, the courage, the drive to go ahead and step into that new beginning, new venture, new something, to get out, to release the difficulties and be on their journey up the stairs. And the creative flow, and we just talked about, right, quite a bit about passion and making sure that it comes from a place of that fire, that motivation, that inspiration. And when you might get it, you know, a creative light bulb, creative thought that comes into your mind, you just know that's right, it feels right. And the other cards that have come through to clarify the Emperor and the Page of Swords are the Father of Pentacles and Temperance, so another major arcana. Father of Pentacles, I'm instantly thinking, you know, great, another very strong confirmation of divine masculine, so having to step into that kind of energy. Skills and competencies are a representation of, you know, intellect, logic, thinking, planning, strategizing, forecasting, controlling. But don't forget about the heart as well. I just think it's, even though it's very heavy on the mind, it's still a reminder that you have to listen to your heart. Remember what I mentioned about this card? Listen to your heart, that passion and that drive. And the Father of Pentacles is very much Pentacles, earthly energy. So money, wealth, you know, and I do believe that if any of this advice resonates with you and you do decide to go and have some, you know, strategy session, planning, spending some time in nature for some messages from the universe perhaps, and whatever it is that you do, you know, you will have luck in your venture and beginnings, and it's most likely to be quite rewarding and abundance, you know, money flow, but wealth comes in a variety of ways, right? More stability, more food on the table for your family as an example, new connections that may bring you that more emotional fulfillment, and as a result give you the energy to step out and release the difficulties that you may have been experiencing. And I like it that see this rainbow as well, and we saw the rainbow in the ten of cups, right? But the rainbow here is the, you know, the father's antennas, and the pentacle is drawn here. For me, it's a very, very strong sign of you know, the crown chakra, really getting the messages from the universe. There's something strong about that, you know, the downloads that you might be receiving around this time, if you're open to them, and if you know, ask for guidance, if you ask for illumination in your life as to the best next step in your life to get yourself out of the difficult moments or circumstances, to release those. I think, you know, the energy is quite strong to get those universal downloads and help and assistance, and trust in them. And Temperance, number 14 in the major arcana, we've got, you know, a bird here. So once again, going back to that idea about animals, spending some time in the nature or with the animal kingdom, spiritual meaning. But ultimately, Temperance is all about alchemizing. It's the presence of the Archangels, actually, so another confirmation of spiritual protection around this whole video series and the subject matter, I think. Alchemizing, so having, you know, fire, passion, but also it feels like there's water or sweet, so that there's a balance between not being overconsumed by the fire. You're not going into the emotions of like anger and frustration and distress and anxiety. Keeping those hopefully in a managed state, controlled state. Even though it's easier said than done, right? I appreciate that. It can be some really difficult moments sometimes when you just feel so uncontrollable, and I appreciate that very much. So I think the temperance is trying to remind us also to be in the natural flow of life. It's all about the flow in the water, and sometimes you can get, despite the turbulent waters, the turbulent situations and moments in our life, emotions up and down, release and surrender to the natural flow of life, and you will actually benefit more from that by surrendering to the natural flow of life and how things are panning out, as opposed to being stuck or stagnant in a particular one form of energy or one way of thinking, one pattern of thinking. And this reminds me back to what I was saying before. It just really feels like the haziness, what's at the top of the stairs or what's on the horizon is actually unknown, it's hazy. And I feel like surrendering to the natural flow of life is allowing to be guided towards that unknown, towards that leap of faith, towards that destination, without you actually knowing where it might end up, but just having the faith that it will lead you to the right direction, exactly where you're meant to be in your natural flow of your life, in your timeline, your lifetime, as opposed to trying to control it. And perhaps, when you resist, it persists. And maybe that's not the way forward here. All right, and let's just move into, here we go, the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands was clarified by turquoise. Turquoise is a nice blue color, for me a reminder of voice, communication, the chakra, and it's all about leadership qualities like that. Resonates well with the divine masculine, right? The Emperor. Clear communication, well, as I was mentioning, voicing, speaking love, sharing it with yourself, but with others, or talking to your spirit guides, ancestors perhaps if you wish, or addressing your ascended masters. Prosperity and success, and that's beautiful. So ultimately there is a positive outcome from this situation. This video topic is all about not doom and gloom. They might be in a troublesome or challenging circumstances, full of obstacles, situation, feeling difficulties, but it's actually about releasing the difficulties, and you're on the journey upwards towards prosperity and success. And we'll obviously in part 2 discuss this, quite a few strong practical suggestions that I'm getting from these cards in order perhaps to help you through the difficulties. And lastly, we've got the Chariot, so another major arcana that was clarifying Two of Wands. The Chariot, the traditional card, actually has the black and the white Sphinx, which I think is perfect to remind us about the duality, the number 2 that I was talking, and about the freedom of choice to plan, and then the freedom of choice to act. Take it as it resonates. Now, the other thing about this card, it's I see a beautiful horse that is just galloping forward, and it's very confident. So having the confidence, having the courage. I mentioned horse riding. If you wanted to go and spend some time in nature with the animal allies, horse riding might be the way for you if you're into that. But ultimately, in terms of the qualities that you need to adopt, is that confidence. Confidence despite not knowing what might be in the distance. Trust in the sun to illuminate the way forward. So you might see that there's a sun behind the horse, literally illuminating the way forward. In exactly the same way here, it's in the main card of that has been packed out, as well as this pentacle, for instance, the Father of Pentacles. There's this illumination right from the top in the Son of Wands as well. Illumination right from the top, from the universe, from the sun. Something very strong about that spiritual side of things. And it's number 7 in the major arcana. Number 7, a strong spiritual number. Maybe having the practice of meditation might be helpful. Sitting down in stillness in order to be able to hear what your heart is trying to tell you, what your inner voice is trying to tell you, in order to help you strategize, plan, or make the decision, or to ultimately act. Another thing is, in the traditional tarot deck, the person in the chariot, the individual, is a masculine figure, so divine masculine, but he's actually controlling the sphinxes to move him, propel forward, have that progress, but he doesn't have any leashes or anything like that, no ropes. He's actually propelling forward with his confidence, but using his mind and the intellect that he's got. So another confirmation of that masculine, embed yourself into the masculine energy, spend some time thinking, strategizing, coming up with a plan, write it down, speak to your loved ones about it, make sure you have clear communication with yourself, with the ones around you, with your loved ones, and then trust in the fact that you're moving with confidence forward, you're progressing, even though you might not quite clearly see the ultimate destination. It might be still a little bit hazy, but trust in the divine, trust in the universe, trust in your spirit guides and your guardian angels and your higher self to lead you to the right outcome, away from the difficulties. And as a result, there will be more healing coming your way, more abundance, more prosperity, more luck. That's what I'm just seeing purely based on these cards, my dear loving friends. Anything else? Yeah, so the Temperance card is 10, 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. So yeah, definitely turbulent time, conflict, change, a card of change. Sorry, the number 5, that's what number 14 means. 1 plus 4 is 5, change, definitely a time of change. Anything else? Anything else that may catch my eye, or any other messages? Alright, last message, I'm just thinking about the Temperance card, as well as the Up from the Depth and the Two of Wands, is this interplay between water and earth, the elements of water and earth. And what I mean by that specifically is water is about emotions and earth is about grounding. And so we need a little bit of both in our life in order to kind of have a bit of balance. So it's, yeah, you can have, listen to your emotions, but don't forget to also be grounded and practical. So I think this is the thing about mind and the heart are helpful. Spending some time physically in a body of water, but also in nature. So like a beach as an example, you may go for a swim and then spend some time on the beach or next to a park. That might be helpful. So a little bit of both is good. It will create harmony and balance. But too much of either is where there might be a little bit of a danger zone, or not the most comfortable position for you forward. Alright, feel like I'm not getting anything else, which is a good way to end. I am going to leave that there. I'm going to wrap up part 3. I hope this video series has been useful and valuable. If so, please comment down below with the letter V or the 2 fingers emoji, V for value. Likewise, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to also like the video, share it with others, or perhaps even consider subscribing to the channel. I did make a commitment to donate 22% of my income as a loving soul, aka Victoria, to charities and other noble causes. So your support would be really greatly appreciated, my dear loving souls. On that note, look, I genuinely hope you took some inspiration or some practical tips from this video series. in order for you to be able to help release any particular challenges or obstacles or difficulties that you might be facing. And I do truly hope that the sun, the universe, illuminates the path forward for you, and brings you to more abundance, a place of prosperity, more love, success, and happiness. Alrighty, my dear loving souls, on that note, all the very best. I'll see you in the other video series. Bye for now.